been waiting for a long time for this, but I finally got a chance to test ride the new bike here. So today it's going to be my first impression on the Pan America. So I'm pretty excited to do this. I've been waiting for a little while. So I'm out here in Red Deer. I had to come all the way to Gasoline Alley Harley here in Red Deer in order to get a test ride where I can just take it out on my own for a while. So I'm not going to video the whole thing. I'm just going to video a few things just to keep it's good for my memory too. But maybe you can let me know, what do you think? Does it suit me? Okay, let's go for a ride. So me with my vertically challenged legs, I got to kind of mount it like a horse. It's not quite the same as the road glide. Okay, let's go. Holy cow, I have to hold on. I'm so used to the acceleration of the road glide. The handlebars almost came out of my hands there. Well, I don't have a camera facing me, but I'm smiling already. So now I'm up to speed doing about 100 kilometers an hour. And the windshield's a lot smaller than what I'm used to. But I'm actually very surprised how I don't get that parachute effect on the body. The foot position almost feels like a sport bike. And I've been on cruisers for so many years now, I'm used to my feet a little bit ahead of me. So I'm going to drop down the windshield and see what kind of difference that makes. So there's 3 positions on it. I'll put it at the very bottom. Well, it's definitely a lot windier on the face. And I can see where you'd like that on a hot day. But I still don't feel the wind on the body. So I knew this road here was freshly graded. So it's very loose rock. So I decided to just give it a try on this first. And I'm doing about 60K. I know when I get on roads like this with the road glide, every time it grabs on the front wheel, like you always get that nervous feeling that it's going down. So one thing that I'll be curious about is what's the road noise like on the microphone on this setup. I'm pretty protected on the road glide. So the last time I was on the highway here, I just had it on highway mode, and the acceleration actually really surprised me. So right now I'm going to switch it into sport mode. Now I'm just going to see kind of what it feels like, what difference it has. Oh, Nick. I didn't realize the Pan American was a race bike. Wow. Hey, I'm 20 years old again. So I'm going to take a little bit of a ride here on the highway. Now, this is a 4-lane highway where most everybody does 120 kilometers per hour for all you American friends of mine. Anyhow, I'm going to see what the sound noise is like and the buffering on the helmet. So it's in highway setting, and I'll just pass this guy quickly. Well, it definitely has the power for passing without having a downshift. If all the guy was doing was traveling on the highway, it doesn't compare to the road glide. But if a guy ever wanted a second bike to do all the things that he couldn't do on a road glide, I think this is a definite contender. Well, there's the old house. Built that in 1999. The old tree fort still there. Well, I don't know if I can get Lucinda in the mirror here. But even 2 up, it's comfortable. The suspension sinks quite a bit more with 2 up. But it's the soft suspension, so it's really good. But the 2 of us just went down some dirt roads and out in the back of the old farm, and it's really comfortable even 2 up. Yeah, even when you put on the extra 110 pounds from a passenger on the back, you really don't notice it.
Thanks, honey.
Well, I think it's time to take it back. You okay with that, Lou?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yep. So thanks, Grant, John, and the rest of the team at Gasoline Alley Harley. Thanks for letting us take this out for a real nice, healthy test ride. It's nice to be able to take your time to get a feel for it, rather than those 10-minute test your mental days. So it's now 24 hours later since I had that 2-hour test ride on the Pan America. So here's my thoughts after thinking about it for 24 hours. And I have some pros and cons. So I'll start off by saying, overall, I'm really impressed. You know, for a first-year bike on a new model, it feels solid. And it performs so well. So one of the pros is, I think that motor is fantastic. Like, I could not believe the performance out of it. And I did try several different settings, modes that they have. And it just blew me away about the performance on that motor. The con that goes with it is, I'm used to that old American V8 and the V-twin of the bikes and that sound. That's what I'm used to. And it has a definite different sound to that motor. But really, that's just a noise. Overall, that doesn't matter too much to me. I think the performance outweighs that. The bike is super comfortable. I like the fact that the seat comes in 2 different positions that you can just manually change. And you can get an optional seat that's a reach seat, they call it, which lowers it about another 1 inch. And I think it's about $300 for that seat. So there's 3 different positions you can have on the seat, which is a real positive for me. Of course, that adjustable ride height, you know, I think that's a game changer. So there's a number of positives on that bike. And some of the cons, just a couple of little things. I found one thing that was very awkward for me was the kickstand. It's not what I'm used to for a kickstand for the placement, but the awkward part that I found about it is I ended up having to use my heel to get it down, and the attachment for the kickstand where it sticks out is right beside the shifter. And if you're not careful, and if your bike is in neutral and it's running, and if you're not careful, I think you can actually hit it by mistake. And maybe that's just me because I'm not used to it. The other thing is that windshield in front. Now there's 4 different positions you can set the windshield from tall to at the very bottom. And it works awesome. You know, even at highway speeds, it took the parachute effect away from the body. There was no buffering on my face or helmet. You know, it fit really nice. The one thing that I did find about it is it felt kind of cheap. You know, when it's in normal position, like sitting, resting, or at idle, it bounces back and forth quite a bit, and you take a look at the connections for it, the hinge points, and they feel like they're plastic. Now, they might be metal, I don't know, but it just kind of feels a little bit cheap, and that's what you stare at all the time. But mind you, when you get moving and the wind is against that windscreen, all of a sudden it's solid as a rock. The wind holds it in place. It doesn't shake around when you're riding. So as soon as I started going somewhere, it didn't bother me at all. One of the real large positives that I found is that bike is so well balanced. you can almost come to a stop sign and sit for a little while before you put your foot down. I could not believe how well balanced that bike was. Anyhow, that's my impressions of the bike, the things that really stood out about 24 hours later. So, the question is, what will I do? You know, between me and my wife, we got 3 bikes already. So the big question is, what will I do? I guess you'll have to stay tuned and see what happens. Anyhow, hopefully you enjoyed this little review of the Pan America from my own point of view, my own opinion. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day and ride safe.